Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hi, I'm Terry Murphy, your host for this webinar, and we so appreciate your being on this call today. And I am personally delighted to be your moderator for this session, which is focused on hiring rockstar talent to produce a rockstar producing team. Now, you know, every single one of these RISMedia webinars is absolutely loaded with great information and experts, and today's session offers exceptional insights for hiring tips to be a successful brokerage or leader today. Now, if you want to dominate your market, you need those fresh insights and strategies to attract top-level members. And that really comes from providing some strong differentiation, as well as providing a really strong core values and success systems, you know, that really support the why an agent would want to join your team. And this session really delivers for you. Our panelists will share their best practices for how they attract and grow and retain their own team members. Now, interestingly enough, today, Darren Hardy, who's our expert from the Compound Effect and a major success team builder, says he sets the bar so high to have the people on their team because it has an impact on your life. And he says a team is all about a powerful execution, just like a Navy SEAL. And his motto, which should be all of ours, is hire slow and fire fast. So today's webinar is designed to help you find and upgrade and identify those A-player talents out there to maintain a culture of high performance. So, you know, a company becomes the people it hires, not the plans that they make. And today we're going to learn all about that. So thanks for joining us. One of the things that I wanted to share with you is a little housekeeping, because we want to make sure this is a terrific call. It's being recorded. And throughout the call, we'll be recording all the content, and you'll be muted as listeners. But if you have a specific question, or if you have you want to talk to our guests, or you just want some more information, I want you to look at the control panel. Go to your dashboard and look at the control panel and go to where it says questions area. Did you find it? That's where you can type a question. And then throughout the webinar, we'll be monitoring those questions during and again at the end after our panelists present. So if you have a question for either of our panelists, which are coming up, or from our sponsor for this session, which is Michael Hudson of Quicken Loans, just type their name in there, and we'll be sure to give them the questions either during or in the question and answer period. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention to you is that we have some great giveaways. Oh my goodness, we have some great giveaways. You want to stay tuned till the end so you make sure you get them. We've got My Team Leader versus Independent Agent Cost Worksheet. Now, I designed this for Workman Success to show how amazingly beneficial it is to be a good team member versus what it really costs to manage a business. And I developed that, and then our own master coach, which is Rick Jiha, he's sharing his top tips for recruiting. He's got that whole report. And get this, we've included a series of 28 complete agent recruiting text messages. These have been awesome. This is working great for some of our coaches all across the country. And it's just some of the great resources you get for free, compliments of RISMedia and Workman Success. So buckle up. I want you to take good notes and know that RISMedia does record these calls. We'll send you a link after the recording so you can go back and review. So feel free to be interactive. Come on, share. We want to hear from you with your questions and your comments. So I want to start our introduction. Michael Hudson is our sponsor today. We love Quicken Loans. They've done a great job of supporting RISMedia. He is the Divisional Vice President of Agent Relationship Managers at Quicken. Michael, please say hello.
Hey, hello. Thank you very much for having me today.
We're delighted. And I want to give a little bit of background about you, Michael. Michael is an Ohio native. He has 11 years of experience. He leads the Agent Alliance region, and that's dedicated to providing the highest level of service to agent partners while promoting exclusive agent benefits nationwide. Michael, tell us what that is and how that helps the agents out there.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, RISMedia, and I really appreciate your time, Terry, and all of you panelists that are joining us. Quicken Loans has a specialty role that we've created. We are known as an organization with an obsession about our clients, and what we've found over the years is that our agents and our brokers are our clients as well. Because of that, we've created a specialty role, and it's called Agent Relationship Manager. Many of you may have worked with us, or your agents have worked with us over the last couple of months. This is a new role where we've simplified our process and we focused in our communication to one single point of contact. Quicken's a large organization, and we have over 1,200 bankers that are associated with just purchase alone. It can get a little bit difficult to navigate our systems, and because of this and the feedback that's been provided to us from our broker and agent partners, we've created a role that acts as the single point of coordination. That is our Agent Relationship Manager group. Now, I'll be IMing you right this instant my contact information in case you ever have a question on this. What's very exciting and something that's very important is we've been focusing in on really growing our business and growing your business as well with the specialty incentive this quarter, the third quarter of 2019. The specialty incentive that we've been offering all of our referring brokerages that refer any clients to Quicken Loans is a 1% closing cost referral credit. Now, this is important because many of us probably have buyers that are looking to get seller concessions these days and limit the down payment or funds out of pocket that's due at closing. Quicken Loans offers our agents an exclusive offer where you can share with your clients that by working with yourself and Quicken Loans, they can receive a 1% closing cost credit. This is very unique, something we're running in third quarter 2019, and something that is very special to all of you, our broker partners and agents. Ultimately, our priority is make lending easy for the broker to understand. We show this by focusing in on our communication, and that is why we have our Agent Relationship Manager group, which I lead. I look forward to hearing from you folks, and if you ever need anything from me personally or Quicken Loans in general, feel free to reach me at michaelhudson@quickenloans.com or directly at 313-373-9341. Thank you so much, and look forward to today's meeting.
Well, Michael, I hope you'll stick around. And by the way, may I spell Hudson for them? Being currently married to a Hudson, I know there's different spellings. That's H-U-D as in David, S-O-N, Michael Hudson. And would you repeat your number again, Michael?
I think that's a great question. Yes, I can. It's 313-373-9341. Thank you so much, Terry.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, one of the issues that we have in the industry today, and I'm about to have both of our panelists say hello in a minute here, is that the consumer is looking for streamlining and frictionless. If you're going to take anything away from this program today, I want you to think about the word friction. If there's too many steps or there's too much work involved, what Michael and the team have been able to do, and I don't want to belabor this, but it really speaks to the point of how do you make it easier and more seamless for that consumer so that we stay in the center of that transaction, and that is that 24/7 care. Because, you know, some people have the audacity to want to sleep and do other things, and we know that the consumer demands everything every minute. So thank you so much, Michael. Stay on because we'll probably have a couple of questions during the course of this, if that's all right with you.
100%.
Okay, great. Well, I want to introduce both of our panelists. I'm going to start with Paul, and I'm going to ask Tony to stay on just to say hi for a second here. Our first panelist is Paul O'Connor. He is an associate broker at Realty One Group, and he is the co-owner of House AZ and Associates, and he's in sunny Phoenix. Say hello.
Sunny and exceptionally hot. Hello, Terry. How are you?
Oh, please, let's not feel bad. You're terrific in the winter.
We are.
And then we've got Tony Black. Tony's the broker, owner of Kingdom Builders Realty in North Carolina, and the associate broker and past principal broker of Vertical Realty in Virginia. Please say hello, Tony.
Hello, guys. It's good to be here. And North Carolina is a fantastic place to raise a family.
Oh, here he goes. He's selling already. I mean, the guy should be in sales. Don't you agree? Well, Tony, stick with us. I want to really get into Paul's section first, and we're excited to hear from you as well. Paul, you've got a great career in the real estate industry, over 20 years. You've got plenty of experience with recruiting, growing, maintaining, and surviving. I'd really like you to share with our group here what really has worked for you when you're looking for team members to support both harmony and profitability.
Yeah, that I think is a key in any organization, Terry, especially in real estate teams. My partner Lisa Glomsky and myself, we've been building this mechanism, this machine for the last 12 years now, and finding the right fit is really an essential part of putting this whole thing together.
Oh, you're absolutely right, because as I mentioned earlier, it's the company that is is the primary communicator and representative. And so I know that you've got 6 team members, and I know that you've done some work there. Talk to me a little bit about what you've got going for you right now as a team.
Yeah, essentially our architecture is based off of any team structure as far as real estate. I think one of the main pivot points is going to be a full-time admin, which we have. That actually is kind of the air traffic controller, if you will, trying to keep everything on track, all the members coordinated, and myself and Lisa as team leaders also. We have buyer specialists, and then we also have the other side of our equation, which is our listing specialist. That's pretty much handled by my partner Lisa, and the buyer controlled aspect of it kind of falls on myself and our buyer agents.
And so, you know, there's a misnomer in the real estate industry that when you have, and you did a beautiful job of explaining this in our pre-interview, that you know, you join a company so that they will feed you leads, and you know, it's sort of like teach a man to fish, right, as opposed to feed him one. Talk to us a little bit about your initiatives for that. What kind of policies do you have?
Yeah, I think that in putting these teams in putting teams together, from the individual agents looking to join teams, sometimes there is that misconception. The best relationships are a two-way street. I think everybody would agree with that. And to come into a team environment and looking for just leads being given to you on an ongoing basis without generating anything on your own, I believe a team leader would be cutting short the potential career of a team member, because things change, life happens, as we say. You may relocate to some other part of the country. You still want to be in the business, but if you don't have any skill set other than phoning up the people that we give you, you're kind of one-dimensional in that regard. So we try to help our team members grow that aspect of their business also, in addition to what it is that we provide as a team in terms of lead providing structures and things of that nature. Well,
and here's something that we talked about that I thought was really outstanding in our pre-interview. And we talked about you said we were not concentrating on the right personnel. We look at a team in real estate as an evolution. And so there has to be a purpose for the team. And you talk about how some people think they're going to do a team so they can make more money and everybody else can work. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because you had a really good attitude about it, and I really want to share it with everybody.
Yeah, I think that's that vision that I think a lot of team assemblers, let's call them that, enter into on the onset. So if you're looking to make your life easier, work less hours, and be able to have more leisure time, do not start a real estate team. Because that will pretty much blow that thing sky high in terms of expectations. It's a lot of work, but it's the people that join us in this endeavor that we are jointly trying to maintain an exceptional high level of customer experience in real estate that makes it all worthwhile for Lisa and I at the end of the day. Sure, there's definitely money involved in this equation, but it's the relationships, and it's the thrill of seeing others succeed and providing a pathway and a structure for them to do so.
Yeah, I think once you've been in the real estate industry, as I have since before most people were born, the whole relationship piece is why people want to join a team, because there has to be a why. And you talked about that, and that you can't fix certain things about that why. You said there's no secret sauce, right? There's no secret sauce. Yeah, you wouldn't be coming to me if. So could you elaborate on that just a little bit? You did a great job on that.
Yeah, I think that's really kind of the thing. I mean, as with any profession or any industry, there are people that do fit, that's a good fit for them, that they're able to succeed in that environment. And there are some, in all honesty, who just, it isn't a fit. And you can't make that happen. Like I said, I refer to it as there is no secret sauce. There is no team that I know of that if you're in this business as a sole realtor and you don't connect the dots for whatever reason, your brain wiring or your initiative or your drive or your desire to succeed, if those aspects are missing or disconnected, joining a team does not solve that. And I think that that's what we've learned over time, is that sometimes agents will come to teams as a last resort, as a way to hang into this business, when maybe if they did a lot of soul searching, they'd find that it might not be the right fit or the right place for them to pursue.
And that's a really good observation. I'd like to point out, though, in some of the work that we've done at Work and Success, is that there are some people who just can't organize all the balls that require being balanced in the real estate transaction, and yet they're very good at one vertical. When you built your team, you saw that your partner is really good at the listing side. That takes more of a marketing mind. Then there's the buyer side, which takes a little bit more of the relational and communication side. And so the why is really important when you're in the hiring process. And so in your hiring process, tell us a little bit about what you look for, because you talked about cleaning house and starting over, because there was an inconsistency in core values and mission statement. But talk to us about what happened in January.
Yeah, Lisa and I took a hard look at the room. We took a hard look at the at our organization and our business, and had to make a tough decision. We hit the reset button. It's kind of nuclear, I guess, in the aspect of just saying, okay, we're going to reset this thing all the way down to ground zero. But it was a hard decision, but I think the right decision, because of a couple different factors. Number one, the people that were on board at that point in time, I'm not saying we're not good people. They were not, it wasn't that they weren't trying, they were. But at the end of the day, the premise of why they were there possibly was not looked at to, really very deeply. There's a lot of teams out there, and there's a lot of different architectures. There's a lot of different methodologies of doing this, and none of them are right or wrong. If they work for that particular team organizer, then that's great. But the model of the revolving door mechanism isn't one that we want to pursue, where we hire as many people as we possibly can. If they do a deal, great, then they move on, and you just keep turning that thing over. We find that the lack of consistency makes it very hard to offer an exceptional client experience, because as these things change over, that person that they come to know as part of our team, as a member of our team, may not be there for long. And we're trying to revamp this in terms of long-term hires, long-term personnel on our team, that we can all move forward to these greater heights together over a extended period of time, instead of, come on in for a cup of coffee, do a deal, and then we'll see you later.
Well, and again, that from an operational standpoint, if you keep having turnover, it costs the brokerage too much money, let alone reputational management. And so your structure has to be such that it's templated enough so that you know if it's a fit. We talked about whether or not you did behavioral interviewing assessments before, and you said that you've used them in the past, but for you it was more of a mindset. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, and again, we have used them in the past, and we actually currently use them also, but I think what we did is we stopped making that the be all and end all at the end of the day. I think the behavioral assessments have value. They can give you insights into certain things, but I think that one of the ways we've started using them more efficiently is allowing them to bring up questions that we can ask these potential team members, meaning, your D looks exceptionally low, and that might be a problem. Tell us about that. Tell us how you perceive yourself. It's a dialogue. It's a little bit of a self-analysis in terms of finding that why, as you mentioned earlier, and that really, I think, is the key at the end of the day to finding people that have a common vision and are looking to do this for the long haul.
Yeah, and that's really smart. If you're on the call, when you and I'm certified for DISC and motivators, and I will tell you that what looks like a natural or a natural or adaptive behavior gives you an indication of how much stress there might be for someone, or if they're well suited or more comfortable in a particular position. So when somebody gets brand new into the business, which Tony's going to talk to us about, they don't really know yet, if they like, the listing side, the buyer side, whatever side they like to do. And they don't know where they're the most comfortable. They haven't done it yet. And so as a leader, as a team leader, when you can help clarify that may help you put the right butts in the right seats. Because you did talk about people that come in with the wrong attitude or the wrong priority. And we talked about that when you interviewed a person that seemed like a good fit. You talked to her about, you gave her your agreement, and tell us the rest of that story.
Yeah, that one of many, and if you've done this for a while and you have built or constructed a team, one of the things that usually comes up in a topic of conversation during the initial or the secondary interview, whatever that might be, is the splits. That's really forefront, I think, on a lot of individuals' mindset. And so we had this individual that came to us, had been in the business for about a year, great personality, seemed like a dynamite fit. We got into the conversation as far as the splits. And one of the things that we do is we're very structured. I think systems, everybody talks that to death, systems. But it is the reality. Individuals can let you down, but systems won't. I think it was Warren Buffett who once said, geniuses with a plan will often be beat out by an idiot with a system. And I think that kind of, sums it up in terms of, what is it that we're trying to do? We know the system works. So if there's a failure there, it's not in the system, it's in your application of the principles of it. But to revert back to that, so that individual, we have a independent contractor agreement that all our agents enter into with the team, and in there is the structure, the pay structure for what they bring in, what we bring to them, various cost structures and such. She had asked if she could take it home and review it with her husband. Okay, that's fine. We had no problem with that. And then we reached out the next. We would talk the next day. I received that morning when I'm going through my morning emails, a email from her with our independent contractor agreement in there. I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe she's going to come on board. As I opened it up, I happened to notice that the entire structure was edited by her because she didn't feel that what that structure looked like was fair. Now, granted, this is coming from an agent with years of experience with very minimal production, and yet, unlike the NFL, you don't get paid for past performance in real estate. And nor do you for future. It's what are you doing currently? And obviously that person didn't make the cut. But that being said, I think that's one of the things that is definitely helpful in understanding if this is the person looking for the right why or the right reason to join your team.
Right, and the culture, and I think the culture that you're looking for, because you talked about how Lisa, and I just want to emphasize this because I thought it was profound. You said, we set simple rules. We strive to promote and elevate the client. We do the right thing. It's a simple aspect. And the question is, can we trust you? And your enthusiastic response is, absolutely, you can. And so if somebody's already worried about what they're going to get, you always worry about what they're going to give. Would that be accurate?
I think that's a very good summation of that whole thing, because at the end of the day, splits are irrelevant to what you put in your paycheck or your pay envelope every week or every month. If you're really doing a great job, I don't know of any team leader out there that wouldn't strive to keep you on board by maybe tweaking certain things in compensation packages. But the fact of the matter is you can't negotiate from zero production and say, I'm going to be a rock star, so you're going to pay me this much. It just doesn't equate at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, you talk, again, it goes back to value. You've got structure. You've been in the business long enough. You know that there's systems that work when you don't. It helps make that frictionless transaction that we talked about with Michael Hudson earlier. So when you talk about systems, is there one particular one? Is it the way you do your editorial and marketing calendar? Is it your outbound marketing? Is it tools that you use? Like as an example, there's a whole referral network within Quicken Loans. I mean, is there some reason that there's a system that would be attractive to somebody that new on the team or to stay on the team?
Yeah, we talked. You had alluded to earlier about the fact that in your coaching and working with workmen, talking about there's some people that just can't organize, and we try to make that easier, providing systems that allow them to do that intuitively and lean and leverage the system to help them with that endeavor. So those run the gamut that everybody's familiar with CRM systems and alerts and checkbacks, shared team calendars. Every one of our team members knows what the other person is doing during the course of the business day, so that we're collaborative. We have a collaborative mindset, and we look out for each other and also support each other. So if one of my buyer specialists is running late or somewhere else, and I can be of assistance when helping cover her, again, client is number one. And as long as they're served to the highest ability, then we've accomplished the goal of what our team structure is kind of all about.
That's you. So one of the things that I was really excited to talk about was we talked about the value that you bring in. Video is not just video, but you actually use video as an engagement tool for communication. And I'm wondering, do all of your team members, did they all buy into it? Because the usual chant is people don't like the way they look on video. And then I have to say to them, but well, here's a newsflash, that's what you look like. So is there a barrier for your people, or does everybody embrace using video communication?
I think on a large factor they do. And they kind of have to, because that's kind of one of the features or one of the aspects, building blocks of our team is to utilize that. There's a lot of different options out there. We favor one called BombBomb that probably a lot of people are familiar with. But the ability, the flexibility of it, whether you're, the one thing that we noticed firsthand when we started engaging and leveraging video on a large scale was response rates, client satisfaction rates, all those things started to climb rather exponentially. And it can be as easy as a client contacts you with a question or something, you're busy, and you pull out your phone, and as you're running like a bandit into that next house or that next meeting, pop open the application, say, hey, Terry, I got your email. I want to let you know I'm working on it. I'm running into a meeting right now, but I promise you I'll get back to you before the end of the day. Let's talk to you soon. Boom, done, hit send. They get that in a text or an email instead of a written text from you. And it is amazing the response that encourages, even on our introductory emails to people. If we get a lead from Quicken Loans or something of that nature, that's what goes into it. We don't send an introductory email. We send a video mail. So when they open that up, it's a live person. They see somebody talking to them, trying to engage them, and our response rates have gone up dramatically because of that.
And that's all about engagement. I've got to tell you, thank you for sharing with that. The mindset of success is what seems to be your differentiator. And one of the things that we talked about is that you said the number one thing you absolutely have to have without failure is a really great admin, because somebody's got to be running the store. Would that be accurate? Would that be your number one advice?
Yeah, I would. And forewarn all potential team builders out there, it may take a while. That is us finding that we had one for 3 years, exceptional, very good at helping us do everything we needed to do, helped us to accomplish the goals that we had set. But she decided to move on. We wished her the best. At that point, though, we were left with that vacant chair. And we come to find out that was very pivotal in terms of being able to allow Lisa and I to work not only in the business, but on the business. And we were, we put a lot of people in that chair. It was, if you took a fast forward time lapse photography of that chair, you'd see, you probably saw in the span of about 6 months, probably about 6 different faces. And it almost became a bit of a running joke in the office, is like, who's the admin of the month, Paul? And the fact of the matter is that, again, utilizing as best a systematic hiring practice, DISC tests, assessment tests of various types, that they would pass, sitting them in that chair and then lighting the fuse to see if they can withstand the fire, provided not necessarily success, even though those assessments said that they would. And so that's just the realization. You may have to go through a few bodies before you find the right person, because keep in mind, that is going to be the pivot of success on your team as it builds and gets larger.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. And of course, you have a motto, you have a mindset that says never stop learning. No matter how long you've been in the business or how new you are in the business, you got to keep learning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Terry.
You'll stick around.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, stick around because we might have some questions later. Okay. Well, Tony Black, I'm delighted to introduce Tony. Tony, say hello.
Hello. Hope all is well. Glad to be here with you today.
Good, it is. And you can see that Tony's a broker owner of Kingdom Builders Realty, and as you know, he's also a broker and past principal with Vertical Real Estate in Virginia. And Tony, tell us a little bit about you're actually starting over. We connected on our pre-interview call, and you said that you believe that strongly that culture drives how you select new team members, especially as you go into this new team in North Carolina. Tell us about that new company and your vision for building it.
Well, this company, Kingdom Builders Realty, is a faith-based business. It's a faith-based real estate company. We're excited about it. Right off the bat, the things that we focus in on as faith, integrity, and service. So we're definitely, as we get to it, we're looking for those who have a like mindset, that are prepared for that type of culture. And we're excited about the new company that we're building, and we see ourselves being successful with bringing those of like mind into the company.
Well, and that makes really good sense, because so culture is really important, and even Darren talked about it. It's just as timely as today. The culture has to be there for, in his case, he believes in eternal vigilance towards learning, eternal vigilance on giving great customer care. And that's going to be a very specific match. And so my question to you was, and you had a great response, was, as you recruit these new agents, why would an agent want to join your team, besides the fact that there's obviously a relational match there, as opposed to a national franchise that has maybe higher visibility or different resources? Tell us why you think that would be your differentiator.
Well, here's the deal. We have created, or I'm creating here, a place where people would desire to work every day, a place to be happy, a place of success and motivation and encouragement. If you ever taken time to go and watch one of those YouTube videos and you hear somebody doing a little rah-rah, that's pretty much me in the background, pushing my folks that way, to make them feel excited about working here every day. Mirroring. I mean, in fact, here's a word I really want to use. I see myself as being a true example for the realtor that would come and work in this particular company. We're going after it, but again, culture. This is the place that they would want to come in and say, you know what, I can be me. I don't have to really fall into the corporate way of doing things per se. But I can bring my faith, I can bring my experience, or learn the business, of course, and actually really become that great agent just by even mirroring the broker that's in charge, and that would be me.
Yeah, you did mention in our interview that you feel like the new agent wants to be there, and you said you offer hand-to-hand training, even with mentoring. Tell us a little bit about your initiatives for onboarding a newer agent, because you did mention that you were looking more for a newer agent because of so much of the in-house realty through Quicken Loans that you have that referral network. Tell us about that.
So one of the things that I've realized over the years, and having been in the business about 18 years, and having done referral business for most of that time, you know, there is a certain agent that would be successful when it comes to bringing leads in. If that's an avenue, of course it is, that I use to encourage folks to be a part of this company, not just the culture, of course, but you know, if I'm able to provide leads. There is a certain, I'm looking for a 3-month, maybe someone who's brand new in there, and up to 3 years, because these are the folks that are hungry. You know, these are the ones that will come with the tenacity, the push, the drive to actually do the business, do it well. And really, because they may not be a seasoned agent, they don't necessarily have that foundational business. You know, they may have a sphere of influence, but they really haven't learned how to tap into that and how to use it. That's where I come in. That's where our company comes in to show them how to really tap into that sphere of influence, to offer the leads, and then to make sure that there's income tied to it. You know, and in reality is this: when you have a brand new agent or a newer agent, that is one who's going to really give you the real effort. They're starting from the ground floor, and hunger. It's absolutely necessary and imperative for success, especially when it comes to leads. You know, there is a referral fee that's attached to any of the Rocket Homes leads that we receive, and sometimes with the more seasoned agents, they may not be prepared to share the dollars, if you want to say. That's probably a good way to look at it. But I'm seeing when you get a newer agent in and they're hungry, we make them great, but we're also able to offer them something in return.
So, Michael Hudson, if you're still on the line, do you want to just give a little relevance to Rocket Homes Mortgage and that whole lead process?
Yeah, so Rocket Homes Mortgage is a new process that Quicken Loans really conceptually came up with about 5 years ago. The entire idea is simplifying the process for the consumer. As we understand the demographic shifts of the most recent home buyers, mostly millennials, they are more tech savvy and have the means to do things more on their own. We've done significant market research and insight into finding out realistically who and what these buyers are interested in interacting with. And we found that most buyers nowadays prefer doing things online or in an interactive way. Because of that, we came up with Rocket Homes and this Rocket Mortgage process that focuses in on digital communication and at the ease of our clients, where our clients get to decide whether or not they would like to receive phone calls from actual bankers, or if they would like to try and automate the entire process and really complete a loan from soup to nuts on their own in their own time. It really puts a lot of control in the driving seat inside of the consumer, making the experience that much higher, and the client satisfaction scores have actually increased quite a bit given this technology change.
Thanks for that. I just wanted to clarify that because some of our attendees probably didn't know that. Thank you so much for that clarification. So, Tony, when you talk about when we talk about the differentiation in the marketplace for a smaller boutique broker versus a corporate one, I get that. I know that you do have certain requirements, though, because having been in the business, and I'm sure Paul knows this, if left to their own plan, a lot of realtors don't have a plan. They kind of get in there reactive more than planning, because planning is so futuristic. So you do ask them to, you do mentor them so they get to walk through your shoes and be with you and have, you know, some celebrity authority with them when they do listings or show buyers. Can you talk about a little bit about what you do ask them for? I mean, do they have to have an organized sphere of influence? Do you ask them to do mandatory prospecting? Explain a little bit more about how onboarding would happen in your company with new agents, in case some of our people are doing that right now.
Absolutely. There are companies, I'm sure, that are still using this particular technique, but I'm looking for, as the broker in charge here, for an agent to come with that top 100, you know, to really go through and look at their life and look in that sphere and say, you know what, who's my, you know, moms, dads, you know, the mailman, who are these folks that I'm touching every day? And I'm making sure that they come with that information, you know, and then I'm showing them daily, you know, whether it's a daily goal or a weekly goal or a yearly goal. These are the kind of touches that we need to have, you know, whether we need to talk, make sure that we're talking to 4 or 5 a week, you know, whether we're doing note cards, at least 5 per week per se, or 5 per day, which would be 25 per week. And then also farming, you know, those are some other things that we have to make sure that they're doing. So going back to your question, you know, I'm looking for an agent who has some idea of their goals each day. I mean, how much do they want to make for the year? And then we'll of course sit down and we'll kind of talk about, you know, how do we get there? And it's, you know, using some of those techniques with their sphere of influence. You know, again, whether it's the note cards, whether it's the farming, those things are all important. And so we are pushing them forward, and we're doing our best to make sure that they are successful in the business.
So do you require in your independent contractors any kind of key performance indicators to stay on the team? X amount of sales for X amount of prospecting? Do you have a client relationship management tool so that everybody's on the same page? I'm looking for specifics. So if I was on this call and I was thinking about starting a team or you know, my own boutique business, you know, what would be those things you would recommend as an expert in that field?
Well, one of the things that we have to have is we definitely have to have a contact management system. Just making sure that they have a way to keep up with those clients that they're dealing with daily. Want to make sure that we are just keeping them in line there. Go back and give me just a little bit more of that statement once more, please. I'm sorry about that.
Well, no, it's just that I like to provide some tactical. I mean, we all know what we want, and then getting somebody else to do it. If anybody's been married, they know that can be a challenge. That's just a little joke there. But so you know, prospecting to some people is not comfortable, and yet we know that top 100 that they know. As a matter of fact, at Workman we call it our top 50, and that is a comprehensive, organized, meaningful touch that happens on a regular basis, basically on a monthly basis, so that those people are the people who already know, like, and trust you. So I guess my question is, if I was a brand new agent, I didn't know any of that stuff, besides leads and obviously making initial money, the lowest hanging fruit are the people that know, like, and trust you. They got to know you're in the business. I know that you do some high visibility things in your community. You talked about that, that you do some local things because you were, you know, highly visible in that area yourself, both with Boys and Girls Club and a couple of others. Is there anything that you make as part of your independent contractors agreement that they have to do in order to stay with your team?
In order to be a part of Kingdom Builders Realty here in North Carolina, you're going to have to be community oriented. That's going to have to be a part of who you are as an individual. You know, that's something that you may have done and that may not have done in the past. When you come here, it may be being a part of the board here, and then also working in the field of or being a part of Habitat Humanity here in the area, getting out there and helping to build homes, and that does absolutely give us high visibility as a company and the organization. They're seeing that we're not out here just to get the dollars, I'll say again, from or to make money per se, but we're here to be of assistance. You know, we want to be known, especially again being a faith-based organization, as one that is working in the community, doing things to assist those who may be less fortunate in that area. Also, let's go back to the Boys and Girls Club. Even this year, being a member of the board of directors here in the area of Cabarrus County, we made sure that when we call it Pancake Day, you should come on down and we'll get you some pancakes and some sausage. You'll love it. But this is, you know, making sure that kids that didn't have a place to go, they didn't have a, you know, after school, you know, and couldn't go home because mom and dad are working. We're raising funds. Pancake Days is just an example of raising funds through that venue or through that avenue, and making sure that folks are well taken care of. So again, when you think about Kingdom Builders Realty and being a faith-based organization, you're going to have to be one that becomes a part of the fabric of the community. You're going to have to do some things that really solidify or separate us from the average company. You can't be a faith-based organization and not do faith-based things.
Yeah, that makes really good sense. And we talked about your hand-to-hand mentoring and training. We talked about participating in the leads and referrals and having the mindset that that's okay. But when we talked about it, you talked about it's about a balanced life. And we all know on this call, real estate will consume everything. But you said really it's we are in the trust business. And before we go back to having both you and Paul on together, tell us, what does that look like? We're in the trust business. I would assume that for Paul as well, and for Michael Hudson. I mean, the whole, you've got a client or a customer that is in need of a service. You want to be able to trust whether it's a painter or a lawn person or a plumber or the realtor or anybody, that there is a reciprocity of servitude, and so we're in the trust business. How do you model that?
Well, here it is. And again, I'm using this term regularly and continually. But again, if you're the type of organization that we are, if trust or integrity or faith is not a part of it, then that's a major concern. Then we wouldn't be the right selection for you as a real estate company. But the reason why I say this is a trust business, when you think about real estate and buying a home, you're looking at probably the most major transaction that one may do in a lifetime, maybe a couple of times, maybe 3 different times in their lives. And if a person can't trust you with all the technology out there, with all the social media that we like to do, if I sit with you eye to eye as a agent to a client, and you look at me and you've done maybe some research and you've seen some negative things, then I'm definitely not the right choice. But if I can look and look in your eyes and you look in mine, and we can see that, that we've done a good job through our lives and tried to always walk a certain path to do the right things by people. The old adage of treating others as we want to be treated is crucial. It's important. It's imperative. And so if we can't do those things, then we have nothing. So when I talk to an agent, even in a recruiting scenario, here's a funny. I remember sharing years ago to a team, and I said, if your uncle and your aunt aren't using you to sell their home, they remember something you did a long time ago, and it wasn't real good. So people have got to be able to trust you and to know that you're going to be honorable in every aspect of the business. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. I know, Paul, if you're on, you also talk about that it's a mindset. And I would say to you that one of the things we talked about is that there's a certain amount of mindset that is required for that trust factor, and how you go about keeping that reputational management high. Talk to us a little bit about what happens at the house group there.
Yeah, no, trust is that pivot. I mean, let's be realistic about what we do in this profession. Granted, nobody will die. We're not brain surgeons, but at the same time, we are being tasked with helping someone with what could be their largest expenditure of their life, unless they own a business, which is their home. So with that, we believe our culture in our team is that comes with a great amount of responsibility. And so that trust factor is the ultimate aspect of what that's about. And trust is one of those things that has to be always there. It's, can I trust you when I'm with you? Can I trust you when I'm not with you? Can I trust you when I'm listening to what you're saying on the phone? Can I trust you when I'm not? It's a 24/7 commitment to doing the right thing, to upholding the highest protection and values of the clients, and making sure that they're taken care of the best of our ability.
Yeah, and I think that, from this standpoint, as we help grow teams, and as we've done many of these RISMedia broker webinars, everybody talks about core values and they talk about their mission statement, but how is it modeled? How does the value get? It's not just trust from the agent to the consumer, but from the management and the leadership to the agents. you have two customers, and I think it was, I'm trying to remember which major leader said, if you take care of your team, they'll take care of your customers. And that's evident, especially in this business, because a lot of people get into it thinking it's just about making some money. If the consumer can smell commission breath, it's not a good thing, especially in a time where communication is so prolific. And I was looking for questions, Chet, and one of the questions that came up was, do you have any formalized training that they must go through? So as an example, we make sure that we actually have an onboarding for like a client care specialist. We call it AMP. And they have to go through this whole video series on how things are tracked, what things done. I know, Paul, you have an operational manual that you put together. Would you elaborate on that for just a minute?
Yeah, that the kind of the premise of that is that and our operations manual is more in its core aspect of it. It's two things. We utilize and leverage technology to a large extent. So with that comes numerous platforms that we will utilize. And it can be hard sometimes to get through that, even if you're tech savvy or you're not tech savvy. So instead of throwing somebody to the lions and say, okay, here's all the platforms we have, go after it, we've devised an operational manual that actually does that. We talk about video. We do video instructionals on almost all aspects, and that's an ongoing building library and part of that came from the revolving door of admins. We were repeating the same lessons as they sat in that chair. So we, Lisa and I, took it upon ourselves to videotape with screen shares. And so here's the platform. You go here, you click here, you do this next, and that gives you a really, it flattens that learning curve to a pretty large extent of what's going on. So training, and you alluded to that earlier, you evolve or you die. There are no more dinosaurs. There's a reason. The fact of the matter is that in this business, it's constantly evolving. And there are some premises, some basics that will always work, and yet there are things that we have to do to make those fresh and new and keep them relevant with today's clientele.
Exactly. We believe that at Workman Success, that anything that's done more than once needs to be templated so that it's a system. The biggest issue we have with any entrepreneur, and we've got some experience on that, is that they're so busy working in the business, they don't work on the business, and that's where I think leadership can stand in and make that work. Tony, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I do. One of the things that we found, even over the years, when I was even at Vertical, we established the mentoring program years ago, and it really has caused many of our agents to be successful. That's the hands-on training. That's going with you to the appointments for your first couple of listing appointments. That's going out with 2 or 3 or 4 of your buyers. That's writing contracts face-to-face and hand-to-hand with lead agents. And so, now the good news for the agent that comes on board is they're not on that particular mentoring program forever, but they are sharing their commissions as part of it. And I'm seeing that, when you have that mentor walking side by side, you have that go-to person that's really has pretty much opened themselves up to a 24-hour type deal, if you want to say, getting back as soon as they can when questions are asked or just in response to any questions that may come. But the mentoring program has been quite a success for us.
Yeah, mentoring is a safety net, and I agree with that. We can't be a leader if we can't be modeled, and we can't teach value. We can't teach culture. We have to model it. And so, just as we close, and before I ask Michael Hudson to join us one more time, one takeaway, Paul, that you would give a listener on the call today.
I guess there would be maybe 2, and we talked about it. Start your team from the aspect of strong administration. Find someone that you can partner with to do that. We talked about slow to hire, fast to fire. I think that keeping in mind who you're adding to this culture affects not only that individual but the rest of what you've already built. I think Lou Holtz once said, "Motivation is simple. Eliminate those who are not motivated."
Yeah. Done.
We did that in a major way on the first of the year, by clearing the room, as we said. So, you want good people. That's the inherent. Tony mentioned that people who have more than just a dollar sign as their why. It's to help. It's to care. It's to be there above and beyond the pure transactional nature of what we do.
Transactions. Excellent. I believe that. And Tony, any last quick minute of insight that you'd like to share?
Yeah, there was another good saying that says the skill and ability that gets you hired, but it's your attitude that gets you fired. A lot of us come with a great resume, but when you actually hit the ground, you got to hit the ground running. And recruiting the team, your focus should be always what kind of work ethic does this individual have? What have they done in the past? What kind of attitude do they have going forward? And here's one of my favorite: are they hungry? And if they're not hungry, that's probably not the right place to come. So I just want to leave you with that.
Thank you. So I want to just review the giveaways here. Workman Success and RISMedia have work together to get you some great takeaway that will really help you. I would encourage you to get, there's absolutely no charge for that, but we're going to include our team leader versus independent agent cost worksheet, which is especially good for people who are looking to build a team or are brand new in the business. They don't know what it costs. They think they do. Our own master coach put together top 10 tips for recruiting. Rick Gia is one of the masters of recruitment. He's amazing. He recruits in and outside the industry. He loves being the power connector. And we've got a series of 28 complete agent recruiting text messages. Those are awesome resources. So go to workmansuccess.com/rockstar. Remember that to rewatch the webinar, you can go to YouTube. Michael Hudson, I want to thank you and Quicken for sponsoring today. I think you guys are making some great initiatives to help the agent provide a more seamless transaction with that consumer so that it really works and everybody wins. And where can they go to get more information about some of the programs that you talked about?
100%. Thanks, Terry, for the kind words. For everybody that's listening, you can look up rocketmortgage.com. You go there. We actually do have access for our agents. It's an agent portal. It's very easy to navigate. We are known as a technology company. So simply put, rocketmortgage.com, look for the link for an agent, and there you have it. You'll have an agent portal. You can submit your information. That information can be used for marketing and updates and really just keeping you in the know on all the different product offerings that Quicken Loans has and any special incentives that we have for you, the agent.
Well, I want to let you know that it's always a privilege to be the monitor and the MC for one of these programs. I again want to thank our sponsors because that makes this happen. And Michael, you've been delightful to work with. I want to let you know that this has been recorded and get those free giveaways. And I want to thank our panelists for sharing their time, their insights. Remember, they walk the walk and they bring to us all of that experiential intelligence that helps us make great decisions. Thanks, everybody. Make it a great day.